Zoe was 58 when things began to change in ways she hadn't expected. For years, she had been the kind of person others described as lively and full of energy. She worked as a librarian in a small town, loved gardening on weekends, and enjoyed quiet evenings with her family. But one chilly autumn morning, Zoe noticed something unusual. Her hands, once steady and strong, began to tremble slightly when she reached for her morning cup of tea. It was subtle at first, just a faint wobble that she brushed off. Yet deep inside, a small worry started to take root. The weeks that followed brought more surprises. Zoe began feeling unusually tired, even after a full night's rest. Her skin, which once glowed softly under the sun, looked dull and flaky, especially around her cheeks and forehead. She also noticed tiny white spots on her nails, something she had seen in old health articles but never thought much about. Still, Zoe was a determined woman. She told herself it was just the stress of work or maybe a change in the weather, but the quiet moments when she sat alone with her thoughts told a different story. Something was not quite right. Then came the day that truly shook her. Zoe was walking her dog in the park when she suddenly felt a sharp, unfamiliar tightness in her chest. It wasn't painful exactly, but enough to make her stop and breathe deeply. The sensation lingered, accompanied by a strange heaviness in her legs that made her feel unsteady. She remembered an old family member mentioning heart trouble, and for the first time, fear settled in her heart. That evening, she confided in her daughter, her voice trembling slightly as she spoke about the strange symptoms she had been ignoring. It was a moment of vulnerability that Zoe wasn't used to, but it was also a turning point, a moment where denial gave way to acceptance. The visit to the doctor was both sobering and enlightening. Tests revealed that Zoe's body was struggling, not just with the occasional symptom, but with a deeper issue: nutrient deficiencies that had silently crept in over the years. It wasn't just one vitamin or mineral, but a combination that affected her energy, her skin, her heart, and even her mood. Hearing this, Zoe felt a mix of emotions. There was fear, of course, but also relief in finally having an explanation. She was no longer facing random aches and odd symptoms alone. Now she had a path to follow. What followed was not a quick fix, but a journey, one of patience, learning, and gentle transformation. Zoe began to see her body differently, not as something that simply aged or failed, but as a living system that spoke in whispers and signs. Each symptom became a message, a call to care and nourish. She started to listen closely to the tiredness that begged for rest, the flaky skin that craved healthy fats, the trembling hands that needed minerals. It was a slow awakening, but one filled with hope. Along the way, Zoe found strength in small victories. The first time she noticed her skin feeling softer, more vibrant, it felt like sunshine breaking through clouds. When her energy began to return, allowing her to tend to her garden without exhaustion, it was as if she had reclaimed a piece of herself. Even the quiet moments of reflection when she embraced the changes without frustration became milestones. Zoe's journey was not about chasing perfection, but about honoring her body's needs with kindness. What made this transformation meaningful was Zoe's willingness to adapt, not just her diet, but her entire approach to health. She became curious about the foods she ate, the rhythms of her days, and the ways simple changes could ripple through her well-being. Friends and family noticed her renewed spirit, the gentle glow in her eyes that spoke of resilience. More than anything, Zoe learned that aging didn't have to mean decline. With care and attention, it could be a chapter of rediscovery. As Zoe's story unfolds, we will explore the subtle signs her body gave her, each a whisper about the nutrients it needed most. From the white spots on her nails to the unexpected cravings and the mood shifts, these signs became clues. Through her eyes, we will understand not only the science behind these changes, but also the human experience of feeling out of balance and finding the way back. This is not just a story of deficiency, it's a story of hope, transformation, and the quiet power of listening to our bodies. So, as we walk alongside Zoe on this path, let's remember how common her experience is, how many of us carry unnoticed signals in our bodies, and yet there is always the possibility of change, of healing, when we choose to pay attention. Zoe's journey reminds us that health is not a destination, but a continuous conversation with ourselves, one filled with compassion and courage. Zoe never imagined that something as small as tiny white spots appearing on her nails could hold an important message about her health. At first, she thought it was nothing unusual, just a harmless flaw caused by bumping her nails, or maybe a bit of dryness. But when her doctor gently explained that these white spots often indicate a zinc deficiency in the body, Zoe's curiosity was piqued. She remembered the recent weeks when she had indulged in sweets and cakes at family gatherings, never realizing how sugar could quietly rob her body of vital minerals like zinc. In those early days after the diagnosis, Zoe felt a mixture of worry and intrigue. Instead of reacting with panic, she chose to take small, thoughtful steps to care for herself. She began by cutting down on sugary snacks and replaced them with foods rich in zinc, like pumpkin seeds, cashews, and lean chicken. Zoe wasn't looking for quick fixes. She treated these changes as a gentle invitation to listen more closely to her body's needs. Her family noticed the shift too. Her daughter Mia teased her lovingly, saying, "Mom, you're turning into a nutrition expert." Zoe smiled, happy to have support in her new habits. More importantly, she felt proud that she was taking control of her health instead of ignoring the little signs her body was sending. The white spots on her nails no longer seemed like a scary symptom, but rather a quiet nudge, reminding her to pay attention. As weeks passed, Zoe noticed her nails growing stronger and the white spots gradually fading. But what mattered even more was how this small change sparked a deeper awareness in her. She realized that sometimes the smallest signs hold the greatest wisdom. Paying attention to these subtle messages transformed how she viewed her own body. It was no longer a machine to be taken for granted, but a delicate system needing care and respect. At follow-up visits, her doctor reminded her that zinc wasn't just about nails. It played a crucial role in immune function and skin health too. This encouraged Zoe to stay committed to her new habits. She started cooking nutritious meals not just for herself, but for the whole family, turning health into a shared journey. What began as a minor nail concern blossomed into a meaningful chapter of self-care and connection. This story of white spots on nails was Zoe's first turning point, a tiny sign that opened the door to a profound journey of understanding and nurturing her well-being. Through this experience, she learned that caring for oneself is not a chore but a heartfelt practice, one that unfolds day by day, quietly but powerfully. After noticing the white spots on her nails and beginning her journey toward better nutrition, Zoe soon encountered another unexpected challenge. Her skin started acting strangely. What once was soft and clear began to develop a subtle shine, especially around her forehead and nose. At first, she thought it was simply the change of seasons or maybe a new moisturizer that didn't agree with her. But as days passed, the oily patches became more persistent, and occasional small breakouts appeared, something Zoe hadn't experienced since her younger years. When Zoe mentioned this to her doctor, she learned that oily skin at her age could be a sign of hormonal imbalance, particularly an excess of male hormones known as androgens. It sounded confusing to Zoe, but the doctor explained gently that zinc, the mineral she had recently been working to replenish, played a key role in regulating these hormones. Without enough zinc, the body's delicate balance could tip, leading to increased oil production and skin issues. This new insight motivated Zoe even more. She understood that her body was sending yet another message, one that called for patience and ongoing care. Instead of feeling frustrated, Zoe embraced this challenge as part of her larger journey. She started paying closer attention not only to what she ate, but also to how her body reacted. She reduced sugary foods further, knowing that excess carbohydrates could spike insulin and worsen hormone imbalances. Zoe's daughter Mia noticed how mom was experimenting with new recipes rich in zinc and low in processed sugars. Together, they discovered meals featuring pumpkin seeds, spinach, and lean proteins that satisfied their taste buds and supported Zoe's health. This became a bonding experience, with laughter filling the kitchen as they cooked and shared stories about their days. The oily skin didn't vanish overnight, but Zoe saw gradual improvements. She learned to care for her skin gently, avoiding harsh soaps, and instead using nourishing creams recommended by her doctor. Each small change reminded her of the importance of tuning into her body's rhythms rather than expecting quick fixes. Emotionally, Zoe felt a growing sense of empowerment. This was no longer about fighting symptoms, but about understanding the interconnectedness within her body, the way minerals, hormones, and lifestyle all dance together in a delicate balance. She appreciated that every sign, every change was an invitation to listen deeper and respond with kindness. Through this experience, Zoe's relationship with her body transformed. The oily skin, once a source of worry, became a symbol of her resilience and willingness to adapt. She realized that aging didn't mean losing control, but rather learning new ways to nurture and honor herself. This phase of Zoe's journey showed her that health is a mosaic made up of many pieces. Each sign, like oily skin, offered clues that, when understood, could guide her toward greater well-being. With each step, Zoe felt more connected to her body, to her family, and to the hope that comes with mindful care. Not long after Zoe began noticing changes in her skin, she encountered another small but persistent discomfort: cracks forming at the corners of her mouth. At first, she dismissed them as dry skin caused by the colder air or maybe licking her lips too often. But the cracks deepened, sometimes painful and embarrassing, making her self-conscious when smiling or speaking. It was a small irritation, but for Zoe, it felt like another message from her body she couldn't ignore. During a follow-up visit, her doctor gently explained that these cracked corners, medically called angular cheilitis, often point to a deficiency in certain B vitamins, specifically B2 and sometimes B3. Zoe listened carefully as the doctor described how these vitamins played vital roles in maintaining healthy skin and tissues. More importantly, the doctor connected the dots back to her limited sun exposure during the winter months, which affected the beneficial bacteria in her gut that help produce these essential vitamins. Zoe was surprised by how interconnected everything seemed. The cracks at her mouth's edge weren't just skin deep. They spoke of a chain reaction beginning with lifestyle changes and affecting her body's nutrient balance. She felt a mix of frustration and determination. Frustration that her body was struggling, but determination to understand and support it better. She started taking small but meaningful steps. Zoe added nutritional yeast to her meals, a food rich in B vitamins and known for its mild, cheesy flavor. It became a staple sprinkled over her salads and soups, adding both taste and nourishment. At the same time, Zoe made a conscious effort to spend a few minutes outside daily, soaking in gentle sunlight to help her body produce vitamin D and, indirectly, support her gut bacteria. These changes were not without their challenges. Some days, the cracks hurt enough to make her uncomfortable eating or talking. Yet, each time she felt tempted to give up or dismiss the problem, Zoe reminded herself of how far she had already come. The white spots on her nails had faded, her skin was less oily, and now, this was just another step toward feeling whole again. Her family, particularly her daughter Mia, noticed her commitment and cheered her on. "Mom, you're really sticking with this," Mia said one evening as they shared dinner. Zoe smiled, grateful for the encouragement. The journey felt less lonely with someone by her side, sharing the small victories and setbacks. Slowly, the cracks began to heal, leaving behind softer, healthier skin. But more than the physical improvement, Zoe treasured the lesson embedded in this experience: that health often requires gentle persistence and listening closely to the body's subtle whispers. It wasn't just about fixing symptoms, but embracing a deeper understanding of herself. This phase of Zoe's transformation deepened her awareness of how nutrition, environment, and self-care intertwined. She became more attuned to the rhythm of her days, recognizing that the body's needs can shift with seasons, moods, and habits. Each symptom, like the cracked mouth corners, was less a nuisance and more a guidepost on her path. Through this process, Zoe also found a quiet joy in nourishing her body with foods that were both healing and comforting. Nutritional yeast, leafy greens, and the warmth of sunlight became symbols of her growing commitment to well-being. She no longer saw her body as an adversary, but as a trusted companion asking for kindness. As Zoe looked back on this chapter, she realized how these small signs had opened doors to big changes. The cracks at her mouth's edge were not just an annoyance. They were a wake-up call that encouraged her to slow down, observe, and act with care. It was a reminder that healing often comes in whispers and that listening is the first step to thriving. As the days grew shorter and winter settled in, Zoe began to notice another subtle change. Her skin felt dry and flaky, especially around her nose and forehead. It was unlike the oily patches she had dealt with before. This dryness was stubborn, sometimes itchy, and left her feeling uncomfortable. She tried moisturizing more frequently, but nothing seemed to fully soothe the rough patches. At first, she thought it was just the cold weather doing its usual damage, but deep down, she sensed there was something more. During a conversation with her doctor, Zoe learned that this flaky skin often signals a deficiency in essential fatty acids, particularly omega-3s. The doctor explained that while the body needs both omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acids, modern diets tend to be overloaded with omega-6 from processed and fried foods, upsetting the natural balance and causing inflammation and skin issues. Zoe realized that her occasional takeout meals, peanut butter snacks, and restaurant dinners were likely tipping the scales against her skin's health. Hearing this, Zoe felt a renewed determination. She decided to make conscious changes to her diet, focusing on increasing omega-3 rich foods. She began adding canned sardines and salmon to her meals and started taking a small daily dose of cod liver oil, a tradition her grandmother had mentioned fondly but Zoe had never tried. It was an adjustment, but with each meal, she felt a quiet hope blossoming. Her family noticed the shift too. Mia helped Zoe discover simple recipes featuring fresh fish and leafy greens. On weekends, they prepared hearty salads with walnuts and flax seeds sprinkled on top. These moments became joyful occasions, not just about food, but about connection and care. Zoe felt grateful for the support that made the transition easier and more enjoyable. Physically, the changes were gradual but encouraging. The flaky patches began to soften, and her skin regained a subtle glow that she hadn't seen in months. More importantly, Zoe noticed she felt less achy and more energized, which she learned was another benefit of balancing fatty acids. This transformation was not only skin deep, but touched her overall sense of vitality. Emotionally, Zoe embraced the patience the process required. She understood that healing wasn't instantaneous and that nourishing the body was a lifelong practice. This realization brought her peace. She no longer rushed for quick fixes, but welcomed the slow, steady progress as a sign of true care. This phase deepened Zoe's appreciation for the complexity of her body. Every bite, every choice, seemed woven into a larger story of balance and well-being. She began to notice how even the smallest habits influenced her health, like how cutting back on fried foods lessened her skin irritation, or how morning walks helped her feel refreshed. Zoe's journey also opened her eyes to the importance of nature's rhythms. She looked forward to sunny days when she could walk outside and soak in vitamin D, which supported not only her skin, but also her mood and immunity. The cold months no longer felt like a barrier, but a season to listen more closely to what her body needed. Through this experience, Zoe learned that health was more than the absence of symptoms. It was an ongoing dialogue with herself, a tender exchange of attention, choices, and compassion. The flaky skin, once a source of discomfort, became a reminder of this relationship and a call to nurture it every day. As Zoe reflected on her path, she felt proud of how far she had come. Each sign her body revealed was no longer a puzzle, but a guide. The challenges she faced, like the flaky skin, were invitations to deepen her care and understanding. And with each step, Zoe grew more confident that she could face the future with resilience and grace. One chilly morning, as Zoe was brushing her teeth, she caught a glimpse of herself in the mirror and noticed something unsettling. The whites of her eyes had taken on a faint, yellowish hue. It was subtle, but enough to make her pause and feel a flicker of concern. She had heard somewhere that yellow eyes could be a sign of liver trouble, but she never imagined it would happen to her. The thought lingered in her mind throughout the day, casting a shadow over her usually optimistic spirit. When she mentioned it to her doctor during her next visit, he explained patiently that this yellowing was called jaundice, a sign that the liver might be struggling to process toxins or that bile flow was blocked or insufficient. Zoe learned that bile salts, which help the body eliminate waste, were crucial for keeping her liver and gallbladder functioning smoothly. A deficiency or blockage could cause these waste products to build up, leading to the yellow tint she noticed. Hearing this made Zoe realize that her health journey was entering a new, more serious chapter. The liver was not just an organ, but a central player in her body's detoxification and overall wellness. She felt a mixture of fear and determination. Fear that the changes she had been seeing were more than skin deep, but determination to take action before things worsened. Her doctor suggested a gentle but focused approach, increasing foods that support liver health and considering supplements like purified bile salts to help improve bile flow. Zoe was initially hesitant, unfamiliar with the idea of bile salts, but trusted her doctor's guidance. She started incorporating more leafy greens, beets, and cruciferous vegetables like broccoli into her meals, foods known for their liver-supporting properties. At home, Zoe found that changing her diet required creativity and patience. She experimented with recipes that blended bitter greens with sweeter root vegetables, creating meals that were both nourishing and satisfying. Her husband, Tom, joined her in this adventure, and they often shared quiet dinners discussing how these changes felt less like a restriction and more like a new beginning. Physically, Zoe noticed subtle shifts over the weeks. The yellow tint in her eyes began to fade and her energy levels improved. More surprisingly, she experienced fewer digestive discomforts, feeling lighter and more balanced after meals. These small victories boosted her confidence and reminded her of the power of attentive care. Emotionally, this period was challenging but transformative. Zoe grappled with the reality that her body was showing signs of deeper issues, but she also felt empowered by the knowledge and action she was taking. It was a lesson in humility and strength, acknowledging vulnerability while actively choosing health. Zoe's family noticed her growing commitment and resilience. Her daughter Mia often remarked on her mother's renewed vitality and the peaceful glow that seemed to radiate from within. This support made Zoe feel less alone in her journey, reinforcing the idea that healing was not just physical, but woven through relationships and love. Through this experience, Zoe came to appreciate the liver's vital role and the importance of gentle detoxification. She learned that sometimes the body's signals, like yellow eyes, are urgent calls to slow down, listen, and nurture. This understanding deepened her connection to herself and strengthened her resolve to maintain these new habits. Reflecting on this stage, Zoe saw how far she had come from ignoring small symptoms to actively caring for complex health needs. The yellowing of her eyes was no longer a frightening sign, but a milestone on her path, one that reminded her of the body's remarkable ability to heal when given the right support. As winter gave way to early spring, Zoe felt hopeful and ready for the months ahead. Her journey through symptoms and transformations had taught her that health is a delicate balance, requiring ongoing attention and love. With each challenge, she grew more confident that she could navigate the changes of aging with grace and strength. A few weeks after addressing her liver concerns, Zoe began to notice another unsettling symptom, a persistent cough that lingered throughout the day and even into the night. It wasn't a harsh or painful cough, but rather a dry, nagging tickle deep in her throat that wouldn't quite go away. At first, she tried to ignore it, attributing it to the dry winter air or perhaps a mild cold. But as the days passed, the cough refused to relent, sometimes waking her from sleep and leaving her feeling exhausted. During a routine checkup, Zoe mentioned the cough to her doctor, hoping for reassurance. The doctor listened carefully and then shared an insight that surprised her. This chronic cough could be linked to a calcium deficiency. Zoe had always thought of calcium as something important for her bones, but she hadn't realized how it could also affect her throat and respiratory health. The doctor explained that calcium helps relax the muscles around the throat and larynx, and a lack of it could cause spasms or tightness leading to persistent coughing. This new information made Zoe pause and reflect on her diet. She remembered how, over the past few years, she hadn't been paying much attention to her calcium intake, especially since she had stopped drinking milk due to mild lactose intolerance. She had also cut back on dairy without replacing it with other calcium-rich foods. Now she saw how that might be connected to this bothersome cough. Determined to address the issue, Zoe began adding gentle sources of calcium to her meals. She included leafy greens like kale and bok choy, sprinkled sesame seeds over her salads, and occasionally enjoyed small portions of yogurt that her body could tolerate. Before bedtime, she started taking a small dose of calcium lactate, as recommended by her doctor, hoping it would calm the tightness in her throat and ease her coughing. The first few nights were a bit challenging. Zoe still woke up with a tickle in her throat, but she noticed that the episodes were shorter and less frequent. Gradually, her sleep improved, and with better rest came more energy during the day. This improvement lifted her spirits, reinforcing the importance of listening to her body's subtle signals. Emotionally, Zoe felt a mix of relief and gratitude. Relief that the cough wasn't a sign of something more serious, and gratitude for the growing understanding she was developing about her body's needs. She realized that sometimes symptoms that seem unrelated are connected beneath the surface, part of a larger story her body was telling. Zoe's family noticed her increased vitality and fewer nighttime interruptions. Tom joked that the house was quieter now, and Mia teased that her mom was getting better at tuning into her health. These lighthearted moments helped Zoe maintain a positive outlook and stay motivated in her journey. Beyond the physical changes, this phase taught Zoe patience and resilience. She accepted that healing was not instantaneous but required consistent care and time. The simple act of taking calcium each night became a ritual of self-kindness, a reminder that small steps add up to meaningful change. Zoe also began to understand that health is deeply interconnected. Calcium wasn't just about bones or teeth, it influenced muscles, nerves, and even the delicate balance that kept her respiratory system calm. This awareness deepened her respect for the complexity of her body and the importance of holistic care. As she reflected on this chapter, Zoe felt proud of her progress. The persistent cough that once troubled her had become a catalyst for positive change and learning. She realized that paying attention to these signals, no matter how small or inconvenient, was a form of love and respect for herself. With renewed hope, Zoe looked forward to continuing her journey. She knew there would be more signs and lessons ahead, but she felt ready, equipped with knowledge, supported by family, and guided by a growing trust in her body's wisdom. Each day was an opportunity to nurture herself and embrace the graceful process of aging with awareness and care. Several days after noticing improvement with her cough, Zoe began to feel another subtle discomfort. Her gums started to feel tender and swollen. At first, it was easy to dismiss. She thought perhaps she was brushing too hard or maybe had eaten something that irritated her mouth. But soon, the redness deepened and small spots of bleeding appeared when she brushed her teeth. This was new and unsettling, especially because Zoe prided herself on maintaining good oral hygiene. During her next doctor visit, she shared her concerns. The doctor gently explained that bleeding gums often signal a deficiency in vitamin C, a crucial nutrient that helps maintain the health of blood vessels and connective tissues. Zoe learned that a lack of vitamin C could cause capillaries to weaken and leak, leading to inflamed, bleeding gums. The doctor also emphasized that sugar intake could interfere with vitamin C absorption, which made Zoe reflect on her ongoing efforts to reduce sweets. The news was sobering, but Zoe felt grateful for this knowledge. She realized that her journey toward better health was a continuous learning process, and each symptom was a clue to understanding what her body needed. Instead of feeling discouraged, Zoe embraced the chance to deepen her care, starting with adding more vitamin C-rich foods to her diet. Zoe began incorporating colorful fruits and vegetables, bright oranges, strawberries, bell peppers, and kale into her meals. She made smoothies rich in antioxidants and drank freshly squeezed citrus juices when she could. The taste of these fresh foods brought her joy, and she relished the vibrant colors they added to her table. Her daughter Mia joined her enthusiasm, often preparing fruit salads or veggie snacks that they enjoyed together. Alongside dietary changes, Zoe became more mindful of limiting hidden sugars that could sabotage her progress. She learned to read food labels carefully and preferred whole foods over processed options. This new awareness extended beyond nutrition. Zoe found herself making gentler choices in many areas of life, from selecting natural oral care products to reducing stress. Knowing all these factors influenced her well-being. The first few weeks brought gradual improvement. Zoe's gums became less swollen and bleeding episodes decreased. She felt a renewed sense of connection to her body, appreciating how even the smallest tissues, like her gums, were integral to her overall health. This attention to detail gave her a feeling of empowerment, knowing that with care and patience, she could support her body's healing. Emotionally, the experience was humbling but inspiring. Zoe realized how easily deficiencies could sneak in unnoticed and how vital it was to stay attentive. Her gums, once a minor annoyance, had become a symbol of her growing commitment to self-care and resilience. Zoe's family noticed her brightened smile and the sparkle returning to her eyes. Tom joked that she must be eating too many good things now, and Mia teased her about turning into a health guru. These moments of warmth and laughter helped Zoe stay motivated and reminded her that healing was not just physical, but woven through relationships and love. This phase deepened Zoe's understanding that health is a delicate balance requiring harmony between nutrients, habits, and mindset. She felt grateful for the opportunity to learn and grow through her body's messages. The bleeding gums, once a troubling symptom, had become a gentle teacher, guiding her toward better choices. Looking back, Zoe recognized this step as pivotal. It taught her the power of listening and responding with kindness, reinforcing that health is not a destination, but a lifelong journey. Each symptom was not an enemy, but a friend showing the way to nurture and respect. As Zoe continued forward, she carried with her a growing sense of confidence and hope. She knew challenges would come, but she also knew she had the strength and wisdom to meet them with grace. This chapter with her gums was just another part of the beautiful, complex story of her body and her life. One evening, while preparing dinner, Zoe reached for a jar on the kitchen shelf but found herself hesitating. The dim light in the room seemed to blur the edges of objects, making it harder than usual to see clearly. This was new. Over the past few weeks, she had noticed subtle difficulties when moving from bright daylight into darker rooms, and driving at night felt increasingly challenging. Shadows seemed deeper and colors less vivid. At first, Zoe brushed it off as a normal part of aging, but the discomfort grew, stirring a quiet concern inside her. During a visit to her doctor, Zoe shared these troubling experiences. The doctor listened with empathy and explained that difficulty seeing in low light, often called night blindness, is commonly linked to a deficiency in vitamin A. This vitamin is essential for maintaining healthy vision, especially in dim conditions. Zoe was surprised to learn that vitamin A isn't just about eyesight, but plays a critical role in supporting immune function and skin health as well. The doctor explained gently that while plant foods like carrots and sweet potatoes contain beta-carotene, a precursor to vitamin A, the body must convert it to an active form called retinol, which comes mainly from animal sources like dairy, eggs, and fish. If the body struggles to convert beta-carotene, or if fat absorption is impaired, vitamin A deficiency can occur even with a seemingly healthy diet. Zoe reflected on her eating habits. With her recent focus on plant-based meals and reduced dairy intake, she realized she might not be getting enough of the active form of vitamin A. This insight motivated her to make thoughtful changes. She began incorporating more egg yolks and fatty fish like salmon and mackerel into her diet. To support absorption, Zoe ensured she included healthy fats in her meals, like olive oil and avocado. At first, adjusting to these changes felt a bit daunting. Zoe was wary of reintroducing animal products after years of limiting them. Yet, with encouragement from her doctor and family, she embraced this new chapter with an open heart. Cooking became a creative exploration as she tried recipes that honored both her health needs and her taste buds. Gradually, Zoe noticed subtle improvements. The once difficult transitions from light to dark became smoother, and driving at night felt less stressful. She also felt more energetic, a welcome bonus she hadn't anticipated. These changes gave her hope and reinforced her belief in the body's incredible ability to heal when given the right nourishment. Emotionally, Zoe felt a sense of reassurance and empowerment. She understood that challenges like night vision issues weren't just unfortunate symptoms, but important signals inviting her to care deeper and wiser. This perspective helped her move from fear to curiosity, from frustration to action. Her family observed the positive shift, noting how Zoe's confidence seemed to grow along with her health. Mia often remarked on how her mother's radiant energy and glowing skin reflected her inner renewal. These moments of connection brought joy and strengthened their bond. Zoe's journey through this phase deepened her appreciation for balance, not just in nutrients, but in life. She realized that health was a delicate dance of choices, habits, and self-awareness. Each step forward was a celebration of resilience and grace. Reflecting on this experience, Zoe felt grateful for the wisdom gained. Night vision issues, once a source of worry, had become a beacon, guiding her toward better care and greater self-love. She knew the path ahead might hold more challenges, but she felt ready to meet them with compassion and courage. As spring approached, Zoe embraced the new season with hope and determination. Her story was no longer about symptoms, but about thriving, listening, learning, and growing with each passing day. One chilly morning, Zoe caught sight of her reflection and noticed that her lips were dry and cracked, more than usual. At first, she thought it was just the cold air and the heating in her home drying out her skin. She reached for her favorite lip balm and applied it several times throughout the day, hoping it would soothe the irritation. but the cracks remained stubborn, sometimes painful, making her hesitant to smile or speak. This small discomfort was yet another whisper from her body she couldn't ignore. When Zoe mentioned this to her doctor, she learned that chapped lips often signal a deeper issue than just dryness. The culprit once again pointed toward a deficiency in vitamin B2, riboflavin, a vital nutrient that helps maintain healthy skin and tissues. Her doctor explained that vitamin B2 is easily depleted by eating too many refined grains and sugars, common in many processed foods. Zoe realized that despite her efforts, some habits were still undermining her health. The doctor also suggested nutritional yeast as a natural source of B vitamins, which had helped Zoe before with her cracked mouth corners. Encouraged by this reminder, Zoe began adding nutritional yeast back into her diet. She sprinkled it over popcorn during movie nights and mixed it into sauces and soups, appreciating its subtle, cheesy flavor. These small changes made a big difference in her overall sense of well-being. Beyond food, Zoe became mindful of other factors affecting her lips. She avoided licking them, knowing that saliva could worsen dryness. She switched to gentle lip balms free of alcohol and artificial ingredients, choosing products rich in natural oils and beeswax. This holistic approach to care helped soothe the irritation gradually. Zoe noticed that as her lips healed, so did her confidence. She no longer felt the urge to hide her smile or avoid social situations. This simple comfort brought unexpected joy and a renewed sense of self-appreciation. It was a reminder that health impacts not just the body, but the spirit as well. Her family and friends noticed the change too. Mia teased her lovingly, saying, "Mom, your smile is back in full force." These moments of connection added warmth and motivation to Zoe's journey, reminding her that healing was a shared experience. This phase also deepened Zoe's understanding of the importance of vitamins beyond the obvious. B vitamins, she learned, were essential not just for energy, but for maintaining the integrity of skin and mucous membranes. This knowledge inspired her to continue exploring natural ways to support her body. Zoe reflected on how many small symptoms had led her to a broader appreciation of health. Chapped lips, once a minor annoyance, had become a symbol of her commitment to listening and responding to her body's needs. It reinforced the lesson that every sign mattered and deserved attention. As she continued her path, Zoe felt empowered by the growing harmony between her choices and her well-being. She understood that health was a lifelong conversation with herself, requiring patience, curiosity, and kindness. Looking ahead, Zoe was optimistic. She knew challenges might arise, but she also knew she had the tools and support to navigate them. The healing of her lips was not just physical, but emotional, a sign of resilience and self-love. With each day, Zoe embraced the journey with grace, knowing that true health comes from nurturing every part of herself, from the tiniest crack in her lips to the deepest strength in her heart. After months of carefully tuning into her body, Zoe began to notice yet another subtle but concerning change. Her feet and ankles had started to swell, especially after long days spent on her feet at the library or gardening. At first, she thought it was simply tiredness or the weather, but the swelling became more persistent and pronounced. One evening, as she sat down to relax, she pressed her finger gently into the swollen skin near her ankle, and to her surprise, the indentation remained for several seconds before slowly filling back in. This was something she hadn't experienced before, and it left her feeling uneasy. During her next appointment, Zoe shared her concerns with her doctor, who explained that this kind of swelling, called pitting edema, often points to an imbalance of electrolytes in the body, particularly low potassium levels relative to sodium. The doctor described how potassium helps regulate fluid balance and muscle function, and when it's too low, excess fluid can accumulate in the tissues, causing swelling. Zoe listened intently as the doctor linked her swelling to her history of consuming refined sugars, which can cause the body to retain sodium while depleting potassium. This revelation was another turning point for Zoe. She understood that managing her nutrition was about more than just adding vitamins. It was about restoring balance within her body's delicate systems. Determined, she began to focus on increasing her potassium intake naturally. She incorporated large salads filled with leafy greens like spinach and kale, ate bananas and avocados regularly, and enjoyed steamed potatoes with their skins. These foods became staples in her diet, offering both nourishment and comfort. Zoe also made an effort to moderate her salt intake. not by eliminating salt completely, but by choosing natural sea salt and balancing it with potassium-rich foods. She learned that sodium was not the enemy when consumed wisely, but needed to be balanced carefully to support overall health. Her family rallied around her as well. Mia often prepared potassium-rich snacks, like smoothies with spinach and banana, making it easier for Zoe to enjoy these foods without feeling overwhelmed. Tom joined her on evening walks, encouraging gentle exercise that helped reduce swelling and improve circulation. These shared activities strengthened their bond and added joy to Zoe's routine. Physically, Zoe noticed gradual improvements. The swelling in her feet became less noticeable, and she felt lighter and more comfortable. Even small tasks, like putting on shoes or standing for extended periods, became easier and less painful. These changes gave Zoe a renewed sense of hope and reinforced her commitment to caring for her body. Emotionally, this phase of her journey was a mix of patience and resilience. She understood that healing took time and that her body's signals were valuable guides rather than burdens. The swelling, once a source of worry, became a reminder of the power of balance and the importance of listening deeply. Zoe's experience with pitting edema also taught her about the interconnectedness of bodily systems. She realized that symptoms were rarely isolated but often intertwined, reflecting the complex harmony of minerals, hormones, and fluids. This awareness deepened her respect for her body and the care it required. As Zoe reflected on this stage, she felt proud of her growing wisdom and adaptability. Each symptom, from tiny white nail spots to swollen feet, was part of a larger story, a story of self-discovery and healing. She embraced the process with grace, knowing that every step forward was a victory. Looking ahead, Zoe was optimistic and ready to face whatever came next. She felt supported, informed, and empowered, qualities that gave her confidence in the ongoing journey of aging with health and dignity. In the weeks following her progress with swelling and electrolyte balance, Zoe began to notice a peculiar craving that puzzled her. She found herself reaching for ice cubes, sometimes chewing on them absent-mindedly throughout the day. It started as a habit during hot afternoons, but soon grew into a persistent desire. At first, Zoe thought it was just a simple habit or a way to keep cool, but her daughter Mia noticed and gently asked if she was feeling okay. During a visit to her doctor, Zoe mentioned this strange craving. The doctor smiled knowingly and explained that craving ice, known medically as pagophagia, is often linked to iron deficiency anemia. Zoe was surprised to learn that such a specific craving could be a sign of a nutrient deficiency. The doctor explained how iron is essential for carrying oxygen in the blood and supporting energy levels, and how its lack could lead to symptoms like fatigue, pale skin, and unusual cravings. Zoe thought back to her diet and lifestyle. She remembered that she hadn't been eating much red meat or liver, both rich sources of bioavailable iron, due to her previous focus on plant-based foods. She realized that while her efforts had improved many aspects of her health, iron was a nutrient she needed to pay closer attention to. Determined to address this, Zoe began to reintroduce iron-rich foods into her meals. She chose lean cuts of beef, enjoyed occasional servings of chicken liver, and included eggs in her breakfast routine. To enhance absorption, she paired these with vitamin C-rich foods like citrus fruits and bell peppers. Zoe found that cooking with cast iron pans added a subtle boost of iron to her dishes, a small but meaningful addition to her care. The first days of this change were challenging. Zoe had to adjust her palate and cooking habits, but the support of her family made a big difference. Mia helped prepare flavorful meals that made iron-rich foods more appealing, while Tom encouraged her to stick with the plan. These shared efforts created a sense of community and motivation. Physically, Zoe noticed improvements over the next few weeks. The constant fatigue that had once weighed on her lifted, replaced by a steady energy that allowed her to engage more fully in daily activities. The odd craving for ice diminished, a subtle sign that her body's needs were being met. These changes brought a quiet joy and reinforced her belief in the power of attentive nutrition. Emotionally, Zoe felt a sense of accomplishment and renewed confidence. She had navigated yet another challenge, learning to listen to her body's unique signals and respond with care. This experience deepened her respect for the wisdom embedded in cravings and symptoms alike. Zoe's journey with iron also taught her patience. She understood that restoring levels and healing the body required time and consistency. There were good days and setbacks, but each step forward was meaningful. She no longer viewed her body with frustration, but with compassion and gratitude. Her family continued to celebrate her progress. Mia joked that Zoe was becoming a master chef, while Tom admired her determination. These moments of warmth and encouragement strengthened Zoe's resolve and reminded her that healing is a shared journey. Reflecting on this phase, Zoe recognized how cravings, often dismissed or misunderstood, held important clues. By paying attention and responding thoughtfully, she was nurturing not just her body but her spirit. This lesson became a cornerstone of her approach to health, an ongoing dialogue marked by curiosity and kindness. As Zoe looked ahead, she felt hopeful and prepared. She knew more lessons awaited, but she faced them with grace and confidence. Each symptom, each craving was part of her story, a story of resilience, growth, and the enduring power of listening to oneself. One afternoon, Zoe was tending to her beloved garden when she suddenly felt an unusual tightness in her chest. It wasn't sharp pain, but a heavy, squeezing sensation that made her pause and take slow, careful breaths. The feeling radiated slightly down her left arm, stirring a wave of concern she hadn't expected. She had always thought of herself as healthy, and this new symptom unsettled her deeply. When Zoe mentioned this to her doctor, he listened attentively and explained that chest discomfort could be linked to a deficiency in vitamin E, a powerful antioxidant that protects the arteries from oxidative damage. He described how vitamin E helps maintain the health of the delicate tissues lining blood vessels and prevents the formation of clots and plaques that could restrict blood flow. The doctor also noted that many processed grains lose their vitamin E content during refining, a common issue in modern diets. This information resonated with Zoe. She recalled her past consumption of refined breads, cereals, and pasta, foods she had often eaten out of convenience. She realized that despite her many efforts, some of these habits might have contributed to her current condition. Understanding the connection between diet and heart health strengthened her resolve to make meaningful changes. Determined to support her cardiovascular system, Zoe began incorporating foods rich in vitamin E into her meals. She added almonds, sunflower seeds, and spinach to her salads and snacks. She also started using extra virgin olive oil generously in cooking, appreciating its health benefits and flavor. To complement her diet, Zoe discussed with her doctor the possibility of taking a vitamin E supplement, focusing on tocotrienols, a form of vitamin E known for its potent antioxidant effects. The first weeks of these changes required patience. Zoe monitored her symptoms carefully, practicing relaxation techniques and gentle breathing exercises recommended by her healthcare team to ease chest tightness. She found comfort in yoga and meditation, which helped reduce stress, another factor affecting heart health. These practices became part of her daily routine, nurturing both body and mind. Physically, Zoe noticed gradual improvement. The chest discomfort lessened in frequency and intensity, allowing her to enjoy her activities without fear. Her energy levels rose, and she felt more grounded and calm. These changes brought a profound sense of relief and gratitude. Emotionally, Zoe's journey through this challenge deepened her understanding of vulnerability and strength. She realized that listening to her body's warnings was an act of courage and self-love. This experience transformed her approach to health from reactive to proactive, empowering her to take control without fear. Her family witnessed her commitment and resilience. Tom admired her courage, often reminding her to pace herself and celebrate small victories. Mia supported her by learning heart-healthy recipes and joining her in daily walks. These shared efforts fostered a sense of unity and hope. Through this phase, Zoe learned that heart health is not only about avoiding disease, but about nurturing vitality and balance. Vitamin E became a symbol of protection and renewal, reminding her of the body's incredible capacity to heal. Reflecting on this chapter, Zoe felt proud of her growing knowledge and the care she had cultivated. The chest tightness, once alarming, was now a guidepost leading her toward deeper wellness. She embraced the journey with grace, knowing that each step forward was a testament to her strength. Looking ahead, Zoe remained hopeful and prepared. She understood that aging brought challenges, but also opportunities for growth and transformation. With knowledge, support, and self-compassion, she was ready to continue living fully and vibrantly. One quiet evening, Zoe was getting ready for bed when she felt a sudden, sharp cramp shoot through her calf. The pain was intense enough to make her gasp and grab her leg, stretching carefully to ease the tightness. This wasn't the first time she'd experienced such cramps, but lately, they seemed to be happening more frequently and lingering longer. The discomfort disrupted her sleep, leaving her tired and frustrated by morning. Zoe mentioned the cramps to her doctor, who explained that these muscle spasms were often linked to a magnesium deficiency. Magnesium, he said, is a vital mineral involved in muscle relaxation and nerve function. Without enough magnesium, muscles can contract involuntarily, causing those painful cramps. He also noted that magnesium is abundant in green leafy vegetables, nuts, and whole grains, but modern diets often fall short. Reflecting on her meals, Zoe realized that while she had increased many nutritious foods, she hadn't focused much on magnesium-rich options. She decided to change that. Zoe began adding generous servings of spinach and kale to her salads and started snacking on almonds and pumpkin seeds. She also took a gentle magnesium supplement at night, hoping it would ease her muscles and help her sleep better. These adjustments were comforting rituals. Preparing fresh greens and nuts became moments of mindful care, and taking the supplement was a quiet promise to her body. Slowly, Zoe felt the cramps lessen in intensity and frequency. She woke up more rested and moved through her days with greater ease. Emotionally, Zoe appreciated how these small changes improved her quality of life. The cramps, once a nightly torment, became a reminder of her growing bond with her body's needs. She learned to respond with patience and gentleness rather than frustration. Her family noticed the difference too. Tom commented on how she seemed more energetic and less tense, while Mia was glad her mother was sleeping well again. Their support was a warm encouragement that strengthened Zoe's resolve. Beyond physical relief, this phase deepened Zoe's understanding of how interconnected her health truly was. Magnesium wasn't just about muscles, it influenced her sleep, mood, and overall vitality. This holistic perspective enriched her journey, making each step meaningful. As Zoe reflected on this stage, she felt proud of her progress and grateful for the knowledge gained. The leg cramps, once painful and disruptive, had transformed into a gentle teacher guiding her toward balance and wellness. Looking forward, Zoe felt hopeful and confident. She knew her body would continue to communicate its needs, and she was ready to listen, learn, and care. This chapter of healing was just one of many on her path to thriving with grace and strength. In the midst of her ongoing journey toward better health, Zoe noticed a subtle shift in her mood. She found herself becoming more easily irritated, her patience wearing thin over small inconveniences. Tasks that once felt simple suddenly seemed overwhelming, and her mind raced with worries late into the night. At times, she felt tense and restless, emotions unfamiliar and unsettling for someone usually calm and composed. During a visit to her doctor, Zoe shared these feelings of irritability and anxiety. The doctor listened with understanding and explained that these mood changes could be linked to a deficiency in vitamin B1, also known as thiamine. Vitamin B1 plays a crucial role in nerve function and energy metabolism, and a lack of it can contribute to feelings of nervousness, tension, and difficulty relaxing. Zoe realized that the refined carbohydrates and sugars she had been trying to reduce might have already affected her B1 levels. She had learned that B vitamins are often depleted in diets high in processed foods, and this realization helped her connect her mood changes to her nutrition. The doctor suggested nutritional yeast as a natural source of B vitamins and recommended taking it before bedtime to help calm the mind. Taking this advice to heart, Zoe began incorporating nutritional yeast into her evening routine. She found comfort in its mild, cheesy flavor, adding it to soups, sauces, and snacks. More importantly, she began to notice a gradual easing of her anxious thoughts and a newfound ability to relax at the end of the day. Zoe also embraced simple calming practices. She set aside time each evening to practice gentle breathing exercises and meditation, creating a peaceful space that helped quiet her mind. These rituals became moments of self-kindness, reinforcing her commitment to holistic well-being. Her family noticed the positive changes. Mia commented on how her mother seemed more serene, and Tom appreciated her renewed sense of calm. Their support made Zoe feel less alone in her struggles and motivated her to continue nurturing her mental and emotional health. Emotionally, Zoe felt a deep sense of relief, understanding that her irritability was connected to a vitamin deficiency removed the stigma of weakness or stress. It became a signal from her body asking for care, a message she could respond to with compassion rather than frustration. This phase of Zoe's journey deepened her appreciation for the intricate connections between nutrition and mental health. She realized that caring for the body meant caring for the mind as well, and that healing was an integrated process. Reflecting on this stage, Zoe felt proud of how far she had come. She had learned to listen not only to physical symptoms, but also to emotional cues, treating both with equal respect. The irritability, once a source of distress, had become an invitation to greater self-awareness and care. Looking ahead, Zoe felt hopeful and empowered. She knew challenges would arise, but she trusted in her ability to meet them with knowledge, patience, and kindness. Each step of her journey was a testament to resilience and growth. As she settled into this new rhythm, Zoe embraced the balance between body and mind, grateful for the lessons learned and the support she had. Her story was one of transformation, quiet, steady, and full of grace. As Zoe moved through her healing journey, she noticed moments when a heavy cloud seemed to settle over her mood. Some days felt harder than others, waking up with a sense of sadness, struggling to find joy in simple pleasures, and feeling disconnected from the vibrant life she had once enjoyed. This subtle depression was unfamiliar and quietly troubling, casting a shadow she longed to lift. During one of her visits, Zoe spoke openly with her doctor about these feelings. The doctor listened with kindness and explained that low vitamin D levels are often linked to depression, especially in older adults. Vitamin D, he said, plays a vital role in regulating mood and supporting serotonin production, the brain's natural feel-good chemical. Zoe learned that many people don't get enough vitamin D, especially during winter months when sunlight, the body's primary source, is limited. This insight was both comforting and motivating. Zoe understood that her emotional struggles were not just in her mind, but connected to physical changes in her body. The doctor recommended regular, safe sun exposure and suggested a vitamin D supplement tailored to her needs, emphasizing that this was a natural way to support her mood and overall health. Embracing this advice, Zoe made a point to spend time outdoors each day, even if only for short walks in the crisp morning air. She felt the sun's gentle warmth on her skin and noticed a subtle lift in her spirits. Taking her vitamin D supplement became part of her daily ritual, a small but powerful act of self-care. Alongside these steps, Zoe sought balance through mindfulness and connection. She reached out to friends and family more often, sharing her feelings and finding comfort in their support. She practiced gentle yoga and meditation, which helped calm her mind and open space for healing. These practices became sources of strength and hope. Physically and emotionally, Zoe began to notice a steady improvement. The heavy cloud that once dulled her days lifted slowly, replaced by moments of lightness and peace. She found joy in gardening again, laughter at family gatherings, and calm in quiet evenings. Each positive change reinforced her belief in the body's resilience and the power of attentive care. Emotionally, Zoe felt gratitude for the knowledge, the support, and the inner strength she had discovered. Her journey through depression and vitamin D deficiency taught her that healing is holistic, weaving together body, mind, and spirit. It was a reminder that self-compassion and patience are essential companions on the path to well-being. Her family noticed the transformation as well. Mia smiled brighter at her mother's renewed zest for life, and Tom admired her gentle strength. These connections nurtured Zoe's heart and encouraged her to continue embracing each day fully. Reflecting on her entire journey, Zoe felt profound pride and peace. The symptoms that once frightened her, white spots on nails, oily skin, cracked lips, swelling, cramps, irritability, and depression, had become teachers guiding her toward health and wholeness. She had learned to listen deeply, respond thoughtfully, and care lovingly for herself. Zoe's story was one of transformation, a testament to resilience, hope, and the enduring wisdom of the body. She understood that aging brought challenges, but also opportunities for growth, learning, and grace. With knowledge, support, and self-love, she was ready to face the future with confidence. As spring blossomed around her, Zoe embraced the season with open arms, grateful for the journey that had brought her to this place of healing and strength. Her path was ongoing, filled with curiosity and compassion, a beautiful dance of care that would continue with every breath. As Zoe's journey shows us, health is often a quiet conversation, a series of subtle signs and gentle nudges from our bodies, inviting us to listen more closely. From the tiny white spots on her nails to the swelling in her feet, the cracks on her lips, and even the heaviness in her chest, each symptom was not a setback, but a turning point. Through patience, learning, and care, Zoe transformed these signals into opportunities for healing and growth. She discovered the power of nourishing her body with the right foods, balancing nutrients like zinc, vitamins B and D, magnesium, and more. But beyond the physical changes, Zoe's story is one of resilience and self-compassion, a reminder that aging doesn't mean giving up, but embracing new rhythms and ways to thrive. For all of us watching, Zoe's journey is an invitation to honor your body's wisdom, to pay attention to the whispers beneath the surface, and to act with kindness toward yourself. Small changes, adjusting your diet, seeking help when needed, finding moments of calm can lead to profound transformation. It's never too late to begin. Your body has incredible strength and a remarkable ability to heal. By listening, learning, and loving yourself, you can reclaim your vitality and joy at any age. So take this moment to look within. What is your body trying to tell you? What small step can you take today to nurture your health and well-being? Remember, every sign is a guidepost, every choice a chance to flourish. Your journey is unique, and with care and courage, the best chapters are yet to come.